All right, so today we're going deep on somebody really fascinating, a guy whose life story, I think you'll agree after we're done, is just incredible.
Yeah, it's really something. And for our listeners who like to get a lot of knowledge really efficiently, this is one where I think you'll come away saying, "Wow, I did not realize all of that was packed into one life."
It really is incredible. So we're
Yeah.
talking about George Foreman, and I mean, we could spend hours on this, but we're going to hit the highlights. What makes this story so captivating, I think, is all the transformation, the resilience and reinvention. He just kept going and changing and succeeding in different ways.
Exactly. And that's what I think we're going to focus on here, how he was able to adapt and just fundamentally change who he was and what he was doing at different stages in his life, really lived in these distinct acts. It's fascinating.
Yeah. So let's start back at the beginning. He was born in Houston, 5th Ward, 1949. Tough upbringing, poverty, absent a father. And by the time he's a teenager, he's headed down a really rough path. Dropped out of school in ninth grade.
Yes, street crime. He was big, strong even as a kid, and that was actually getting him into more trouble.
And then a real turning point at 16. He joins the Job Corps in 1965. Now, this is where he meets Doc Broadus, who encourages him to try boxing.
That was a pivotal moment for sure. The thing about the Job Corps is it had structure. It had discipline things that were probably missing in his life up until then. That kind of foundation, I think, was key for everything that came after.
3 years later, he's at the Olympics,
Mm.
the 1968 Olympics in Mexico City, wins gold heavyweight division. That image of him with the American flag was a big deal. And then, bam, he turns pro.
Yeah, and just takes off like a rocket, right? 37 wins in a row, most of them knockouts. His power was legendary.
He was unstoppable, it seemed. 1973, he becomes heavyweight champion, just destroys Joe Frazier. I mean,
Yeah, he was on top of the world, but then you have the Rumble in the Jungle in 1974 against Ali.
that was a huge upset. I mean, everybody thought Foreman was going to win.
Yeah. He was the favorite, but Ali was brilliant. He used that rope-a-dope strategy, basically let Foreman punch himself out, tiring him against the ropes, and then in the eighth round, knockout.
It was devastating for Foreman, and things kind of went in a different direction after that, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, he kept fighting, but then in 1977, after a loss, he has this really profound religious experience. Becomes a born-again Christian, a total shift in priorities, right? He retires from boxing and becomes an ordained minister, starts preaching.
Incredible. He starts a church in Houston, the Church of the Lord Jesus Christ, and a youth center, the George Foreman Youth and Community Center. He wanted to help kids who were struggling like he had.
For a decade, that's his focus ministry, helping others, really a complete redefinition from the intimidating boxer to a man of faith and community. It shows you the possibility of change.
And then the comeback, 1987, at 38 years old, he gets back into the ring.
Yeah, a lot of people were like, what is he doing? He's too old, he's out of shape, but he needed money for his youth center and something else was driving him too.
He worked his way back up, and that punching power, it was still there. And then in 1994, think about this. He's 45 years old. He fights Michael Moore, who's 26, and wins the heavyweight title again.
20 years after losing to Ali, it's one of the greatest sports comebacks ever. Pure resilience. People talk about prime years. Foreman just blew that idea out of the water.
And I mean, who doesn't remember the grill? The
Yeah.
George Foreman lean, mean, fat-reducing grilling machine.
Yeah.
It was a phenomenon, sold over 100 million units.
Made him more money than boxing did.
Mhm.
It's amazing. But it makes sense, right? He had this public image, now friendly, approachable, built on his comeback story, and he was selling a product that promoted healthy living. It just clicked.
He wrote books, cookbooks, memoirs, became a successful entrepreneur, all of it built on his personality and that incredible story.
And through it all, family was important to him. 5 marriages, 12 children, 5 sons, all named George. He was a devoted father, taught them hard work, faith, perseverance, those values that he had to learn himself.
And in his personal life, he found happiness with his wife, Mary, on their ranch in Texas.
Mm.
He really valued those simple pleasures, family home life.
So you're talking about a guy who was a boxing champion across 4 decades, a successful businessman, a minister, a father. He died just recently, but his life was a testament to transformation, perseverance, and the power of reinvention.
He really was a global icon. And it all started from such humble beginnings and so many struggles along the way.
But that's what's inspiring, right? He shows us that it's possible to change, to overcome obstacles, to reinvent yourself, no matter how old you are or what you've been through.
His story is a reminder that those qualities, transformation, perseverance, reinvention, they're not just words. They're real, and they can lead to incredible things.
So think about that for yourself. What area of your life might be waiting for its own reinvention?
It's something to think about, for sure. George Foreman's life shows us it's possible.
Absolutely.
That was quite a deep dive. Fascinating guy.
It really was. Thanks for having me.
And to all our listeners out there, keep on learning, keep on diving deeper. We'll see you next time.